this week's episode of Middle Age Geeks, podcast where we aim to discuss and review movies and TV, video games, comics, and just geeky stuff in general. I'm one of your hosts, Phil, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Daz. Daz, how are you?
I'm very good, my man. Very good. I've just woken up from a 10-minute micro nap, putting my daughter to sleep after telling her tales about robots and dinosaurs or whatever shit comes into my mind to try and put her to sleep. And then, yeah, that's always fun. So, yeah, I'm good. On the coffee, but good. How are
Excellent.
you, man?
I'm not too bad. Yeah. It's been an okay week. Apart from all the poxy rain, it's been grand. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to just keep busy. I was thinking before we get into what we've been playing and watching this week, we might have a quick chat about another cool trailer that came out. So
Oh,
last
yeah.
week we had up about The Crow, and what our thoughts were on that. But this week, and we were saying they've showed too much. You know, what a fucking poxy
Mm.
trailer, showing too much. It doesn't look it. But then this week from Fede Alvarez, we got what a trailer should look like, and that was the trailer for Alien Romulus. Holy shit! It's
Mm.
fucking perfect trailer, absolutely perfect. Doesn't give too much away. Gives you what the feel of the film is going to be like, enough to go and go, oh, that looks like the first Alien movie. There's nothing about the fucking plot in it.
Mm.
It's just, and it just it got its teeth into me, and it's just such a short
Absolutely.
short space of time. What did you think of it?
Oh, it's fantastic. Like when you send me a text, you're just like, holy fucking shit, now that's a trailer. It's like, oh my Christ. So yeah, I waited until I got home and yeah, stuck on the earphones. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's beautiful, brilliant. Like it's a minute long, but it harks back to, I think, the essence of the original Alien we talked about in depth, many
Yeah,
episodes ago. That feels straight away from the first fucking 2 or 3 seconds. Slow, haunting kind of camera just going through the ship where you just hear the kind of screams and chatter of people, obviously as they're running away from this crazy alien and getting fucking murdered or whatever. It's just very unnerving, and it's very kind of methodical, slow moving. There's maybe only like 5 or 6 shots of the fleeting glimpses, but you get like I said, like the look of the ship, and then like just a terrifying shot of a face hugger just jumping across a room onto somebody's face, just like fuck me, just brilliant. And straight away you're just like, I movie could be absolute fucking trash, but I'll be there opening day, like first fucking showing.
100%.
It's just, yeah, it's the perfect example of a trailer. Perfect example in that
Yeah,
1 minute,
that's it.
better than 23-minute bloated nonsense trailers. Love it. Hopefully he
Exactly. Yeah. Like
delivers.
I've no,
Yeah.
I've kept it kind of my. I've kept kind of look. I haven't read into it too much. I watched a
Mm,
little bit of stuff Fed Alvarez, but just trying to. I don't want to know a massive amount about it. Just trying to go into it a little bit blind. But
mm,
like you said, when the first movie, the opening scene, we're getting different. It's panning through the ship. We're getting different looks at the corridors. We're getting
mm.
looks at them in the cryopod things,
Yeah.
and we get the exact same thing this way
Mm,
around. But it's just fucking dirty and grim, and it's just
mm,
there's fucking blood everywhere, and it's just like, what the fuck happened here? Just
mm.
you'll just have to fucking wait until August to
It
find out, and it's
looks,
just
yeah,
it's yeah,
it
it
looks
looks
like an
great. It
alien
looks just
film.
like
It sounds like an alien
yeah,
film, and it feels like an alien movie. And I just hope, yeah, hope to God he delivers. Even if just give us
yeah.
good to decent 3-4 star movie, and I'd be happy. Just something that is true to fucking Alien. You know what I mean? Rather than
Well,
some
actually, he
recent
said
entries.
right. He said because I did see one thing of him talking about the trailer,
Mm,
and he was saying that he said he saw a yoga with James Cameron when he made the second one, and he
yeah,
wasn't sure if people in the audience, the screening thing, were actually enjoying it until the "Get away from her, you bitch,"
yeah,
and people erupted, and you're like, oh god, it was just the tension building,
yeah,
and
yeah,
this
yeah.
was their yes kind of moment, and he's like.
Hmm.
And so he was like, but he did up until that point. He said James Cameron wasn't sure if people were into it, were they
No,
enjoying it
that's
or not,
cool. That is cool.
And so he showed it to people. This one, people have seen Romulus, the director's cut of it
Yeah,
so far, And he said there's a scene in it, and he said he was like that. He was like, "Are people into this? I'm not getting a reaction. Are they
yeah,
just, what's going on?" He said, but then this scene that he was waiting for them to happen happened, and he said he got this big massive reaction out of everybody who was watching it, and he was
yeah,
like, "Yes." I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
that's
That's
fucking
great.
cool." So yeah, so I'm hopeful. Like I've enjoyed his other stuff.
Mm,
So I am. I'm hopeful that even if, as you said, it's not an incredible movie, I think it'll have that real alien feel
Mm.
and alien look, and yeah, no fucking engineers or any of that mad fucking Ridley Scott nonsense. I think
Yeah,
it's
just keep it simple, man.
yeah,
Keep it simple. One
yeah.
alien, let him
But
wreak havoc. Yeah.
so with that out of the
Mm.
way, and that's the only really thing I wanted to get into. What have you been? And actually, I think I know what you've been playing, but what have you been watching and playing for the past week?
Well, watching, not watching much last night in the most ungeeky thing. Went to see Roddy Doyle play with some friends in town. Five Lamps, which
Yeah.
is a nice short play with about some guy trying to find his estranged son during COVID times. It's kind of a one man kind of play. Really good. But after that, left them all in the bar, drove home as fast as I could to get home. I got home about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and straight into Dogma 2, which I've been playing all week, and I'm absolutely fucking enraptured with it. And this is another game where it's like the third in a row that I wasn't really looking forward to. I didn't really know much about it because you mentioned it before on the show, like saying you're looking forward to it. I remember just seeing like a preview video and going, okay, it looks like another action adventure RPG. Don't know if I can have the time to get stuck into that. But after Pacific Drive and Helldivers and now this, it's just come out of left field. I took a punt on it because it's not cheap, like €75. And there's always that moment where you're just like, oh, if you just wait a few months, get it in some sale, for 30, 40 quid. But I read somewhere online that there was that the combat's great and there's no fast travel, and that was the one thing, we'll get into that, the one thing that got me enticed in it. I said, oh, that kind of sounds interesting, I'll give it a look. But it's yeah, it's a sequel to, like, did you play the first one, 2012?
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
But I
I
mean,
didn't never even heard of that
I,
game before.
I was still drinking back then, so I don't remember too much of it. But I know
It's a blur.
I definitely did play it. I definitely did play it because I remember looking at the OP. Just like, oh,
Mm.
fucking play that game.
But yeah,
I was
it's
looking forward to this, but I haven't played
mm.
it. But yeah, I'd like, I would like. Is that whole thing with the fast travel? Are people blowing that out of proportion? Because it seems to be mostly the PC, like the Steam reviews, that are giving it bad reviews, and not the console ones.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think their initial plans, like the game is, for anyone who doesn't know, like it's an open world action role playing game, and it's back to your kind of soldiers, archers, mages, and magic, and like Skyrim, and with a kind of Lord of the Rings kind of element to it. But the whole thing of the game with no fast travel is it takes away a lot of kind of quality of life things that have been put into games to keep people happy. Fast travel and multiple checkpoints and saves. This takes away that. There's no fast travel. There's You can get a point to point, jump on a cart to go somewhere or whatever, but there's apart from that, there's no fast travel. There's no icons on the map. There's no, with Assassin's Creed or some of these games that you open the map and it's just there's 100 fucking icons on the map, just going, oh, here's a question mark, here's a question mark. This is fucking none of that. To get any side quests, you have to go around and talk to people, and some people have no side quests, so the people will tell you something, or you hear something in passing. Somebody says, "Oh, I wonder where he is. I haven't seen him since morning." And you go, "Oh," you talk to him, and that starts a fucking whole 1 hour adventure. But it has, yeah, it takes away all those quality of life things. But the fast travel thing, because I mean, I think they developed it with no intention of fast travel whatsoever, because that's the point of the game when almost survival aspect of it, where you go off on a mission. You might have to traverse, like with your party, you have a party of four people. It's a single player game, but you could have to go to the other corner of the map, let's say, and when you get there, you complete your mission, whatever. But then you've got to get all the way back. And the whole point of the game, and the best parts of the game, are not the missions themselves. It's what happens when you're trying to get there, because there's a wonderful world of fucking mad goblins and fucking skeletons and lizards and flying fucking birds and creatures, dragons, obviously, like um, cyclops people that just you're constantly attacked. So it's constantly like you can, when you lose health, if you can replenish your health, but along the trek your health bar will just start to get lower and lower and lower and lower. So you have to manage getting back. Like there's no kind of like, oh, finish the question, is fast travel. But
I get you.
like it came out then that they had a they had said you can fast travel, but you have to purchase it. And I didn't look too much into it,
Yeah.
but there was a furore online, but a lot, yeah, on the PC Steam kind of community, which I think it's hard to know how far it's been blown out of proportion, but to my mind, it's something that they probably just put in to please people. If they didn't have it as a paid extra, it would change fundamentally the game. If they just put it in afterwards, if like if they didn't intend it to be there, I think they just put it behind a paywall just to say, well, if you want to play the game that in a way that we don't want you to, you have to pay to fucking fast travel. But I don't think it's that much of an aspect, and I love the fact that you can't fast travel. It's just
Yeah. I get that, but I think that and I understand from your point of view that that's something you enjoy about games, but for some
mm,
people, like you said, would have very say limited time, and with games like this on
yeah,
a massive map, to get from one, you want to get from one point, and you go, actually, the next thing I want to do is way over the other side of the map. You're like, that's going to turn some people off. So I get
mm,
if you don't want to use it, perhaps it should be like in the options, the way you can switch on an auto aim, where
yeah,
some people prefer to have auto
mm,
aim, some people don't. That you can have fast travel turned on, turned off, whatever you know,
mm,
or just something like that. But I think you're kind of alienating some people by saying no. There's just none. It's none. But we will give it to you, but you got
yeah,
to pay us behind a paywall. I just think that doesn't stick right with me. The paywall thing bothers me.
yeah.
Like if they just said no, there's no fast travel. There's no you can't buy it. It's just not there. No one's ever getting it. You go, okay, fine. It's fair
That's what they
across the
should have
board for
done.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not ideal, but that's for some people because there's like,
mm,
okay, I can't play that game now. It's going to be too long. But I'd understand if they want you to have
mm.
that pure experience. But to charge people who do want it, I just think that's kind of shitty. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, because it's just not built into the game mechanics, and it does seem like it's a strange decision because it just doesn't look good in a headline, when it's just
Yeah,
smattered all over online, which is taken away from the kind of the old kind of throwback to what this game is. And but yeah, the game, it's fantastic. The combat's brilliant. It's not as hard as Dark Souls or one of these games at all. Like the hardest thing is not the combat. The combat's just lots of fun, lots of fun. Killing these strange creatures, and there's nothing like jumping onto the fucking back of a giant cyclops and swinging around to his head in your last bit of stamina and stabbing him in the eye to kill him. It's just like fucking cheer out loud
deadly.
moments. Like it's really fucking cool. But the yeah, it's just brilliant. It's a wonderful world, and one of the greatest aspects of it is because it's a single player game, and you create one of your support characters, a pawn, which is like just a normal character that you create. You give them like a trait and personality and all this. But the other two people in your party that you choose to be on it, you choose from a rift, which is like a kind of another kind of spatial dimension where you go in and there's a load of pawns littered around the place, but they're all pawns that other people playing the game have created, giving them names
Okay,
and stuff. So you're taking other people's creations into your party to help you, and likewise they do the same with yours. So that kind of
that's
aspect is
cool.
it's cool, yeah. But it's interesting. There's no lock on in combat. It's kind of old school. And there's only one save game as well, so there's no like, oh, I'll just save here and I'll try something and go back to that save. Just like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
if you fuck up and you don't bring enough like a camping kit to replenish your um health, in the middle of the woods at night or whatever. If you don't do that, then you're pretty much up shit's creek. So
That
it's
sounds
fucking
cool.
great. But I'm like 8 hours in, and I'd say there's many, many, many more hours to go. Like many, brilliant. Yeah, loving it.
Deadly.
How about yourself? What are you up to? What are you playing?
I haven't played 1 minute of video games this whole past week,
Mm.
which is not like big. I just haven't had the time, and I've just been reading and watching a few different things. I mentioned to you I'd watched the X-Men '97, first couple of episodes of
Oh
that,
yeah.
which I really enjoyed. And I watched actually the entirety because I actually watched the whole season of Three Body Problem. Did you see that
Mm.
advertised on Netflix?
No, what's that about?
So it's like mystery sci-fi kind of thing. And like I don't know, it kind of started off at really like I found it quite interesting because it was a real what's going on. But then when you find out what's going on, it was a bit of a letdown. I don't know, like I think it's based on like a series of books from a Japanese or maybe Chinese author,
Mm.
and it's being made then for Western audiences. But it's got some cool cast in it. It's always good. Keiko O'Brien actually is in.
Ah, yeah,
From the Deep Space Nine,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Is in it. Liam Cunningham is one of the
And that's
main
actually her
characters in
real
it.
name.
Yeah. So yeah, no,
That's
the
cool.
cast is decent enough, and it's yeah, it's just I don't know. It was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because I enjoy sci-fi and I enjoy that kind of what's going on.
Mm,
But I get when you finally did kind of find out what was going on, it was kind of a bit of a letdown. But there's one even if you end up not watching it, there's and the actual VFX aren't incredible,
yeah.
but there is one scene in episode five that is absolutely awesome. It's incredible. It's a whole because it's not shy on when people get killed. It's blood, guts kind of stuff. I mean, there's
Wow.
no they don't shy away from the gore when someone does get killed. And there's a big kind of set piece. So if people get killed in episode
Mm,
five, I won't say any more than that. But look it up if you fancy it. Um, and
brilliant.
even though the VFX aren't amazing,
Yeah,
it's fucking cool looking. It's really it's worth checking
that
out.
sounds cool,
But
actually.
no, like yeah, apart from that, no, I haven't really been into to anything else.
Mm,
I suppose then if that's all, if
mm.
we'll get into the movie that we're watching this week, which was the new Ghostbusters movie. What's it? Frozen Empire? Is that what it's
Frozen
called?
Empire. Yeah.
Frozen Empire. So Daz is very kindly gonna take us through that, and then after that, for the retro corner, we're gonna go and do Metal Gear Solid, on the PlayStation from the PlayStation
Mm.
One. So for the review, I will pass you now over to Daz. So take it away, Daz.
Okay, thank you, Phil. So yeah, this week is Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Let's set the scene. Firstly, this is the sequel to the 2021 Ghostbusters Afterlife. In this one, the Spengler family have returned to where it all started, the iconic New York City firehouse, to team up with the original Ghostbusters, who've developed a top secret research lab taking busting ghosts to the next level. This is their log line. But when the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. And that does set the scene lovely. As I said, it follows on from Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I think received pretty good reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, myself, we enjoyed that, right?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I thought it was great. And it did well, and it was
Hmm.
definitely was well received. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it did a good job. That movie, I remember coming out of that, it was like it was obviously well received, and it didn't quite shake the aftermath of 2016's female-led reboot, which just entitled Ghostbusters. That was a bit of a shit show. I remember the furore about that at the time was it's just like, oh, you can't take you know female led Ghostbusters seriously, and all this backlash against women in the roles, and it wasn't. It was just a fucking shit movie. Like, didn't
Yeah,
really
just written
matter.
poorly
Yeah,
because those actors are great. I fucking
yeah,
love Kate
and they
McKinnon.
all
Like
had their
the
really
actors
good
are great.
moments in that movie, but it's just
Yeah, they
fucking it was
really
awful.
did. It was just yeah, it was just a bad script for it. I'd absolutely be happy with the four of them as Ghostbusters in a well written one. It just wasn't well written. It's such a pity because there was some laugh out loud moments, especially from Kristen Wiig.
Yeah,
Um, like this, it's a good cast. It's just yeah, they just got done dirty. I think by the by the writing.
yeah, absolutely. But with this one, I mean, we'll kind of we'll try and skim through the plot and give our kind of thoughts as we go. But first impressions for me were this that it's not a terrible movie. It's not a great movie. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. But it did kind of, and we both echoed this after because we just saw this literally a few hours ago today. Um, that it was a wasted opportunity to kind of double down
Yeah,
on the good things Afterlife did, which I think I like Afterlife coming out of that. I was kind of taken aback with how kind of sincere, and there were moments of surprisingly emotionally charged entry at times, which touched ever so slightly on the nostalgia of the series, like just enough to kind of make you go, ah, that's lovely. And this one just kind of, yeah, it just kind of shits the bed a little bit because it goes too far into nostalgia. What were your first thoughts just coming out of the cinema?
yeah. I think like you said, missed opportunity because there was so much heart. I think in that one in Afterlife.
Mm,
I love, and there's a lot of it that I really, really enjoyed. And I think like there's fan service, but I mean, the fan service really is giving people what they want. That's what we call it, fan service. So you think this is what
Yeah.
the fans want. Like, I don't think anybody does want to see. I didn't think Bill Murray was necessary in this movie at all. Now I get the Dan Aykroyd in it because he has that little the
Mm.
cult shop and it gives you a little side plot to have. That's fine.
Yeah.
But Bill Murray doesn't do anything in this movie. He does nothing. Like he's just there just because he's Bill Murray and he's one of my favorite all-time actors.
Mm.
Love him. But he's pointless in the movie. You just have him in because he was in the original and he happens to be available to be in this.
Mm.
There's no reason for him to be in it. You know what I mean? He's not like at least with Janine and the thing, they're working still with that Ghostbuster lab. They're
Mm.
all actually involved in it. He's not really at all. He just happens to be there. And it was just, like you said, it was just to say, here's more nostalgia for you, and
Mm.
it was annoying. But like, the thing about it is, there's some a lot of stuff I really actually did enjoy. Like there was
Mm.
some laugh out loud moments in it,
Yeah.
which is because Paul Rudd's delivery is always fantastic.
Mm. Well, he's
I
good in
love
everything.
Carrie Coon.
Mm.
Yeah, I love Carrie Coon. I think she's fantastic. And the kids are great in it. Finn Wolfhard really took a backseat in this movie. He seemed to
Yeah.
have just like almost a minor role they gave him. They
It's in
really
about
gave
three scenes. His story arc plays out over about three scenes.
yeah. I think is it McKenna Grace or Mackenzie Grace or the younger the girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really her. It's really her movie, and
Her movie again, really. Yeah.
she yeah again, and she's great. But they've changed. I found they changed the character a little bit because what was so great about her in the first one was she's so deadpan and socially awkward, whereas now
Mm.
she's kind of got into the moody teenager kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And they've changed the character up a bit. I thought what was so funny about her was her delivery of like jokes and lines were so deadpan, and she's just this little genius,
Yeah.
and
So
doesn't
awkward
get
in the world.
panicked
Yeah.
and so awkward, but just calm as well in the face of all
Mm.
this mayhem that's going on. And it made the character really endearing. Whereas now she's just kind of rebelling a little bit against, um, the surrogate father of whatever the new stepdad almost, sorry,
Yeah.
of that is, Paul Rudd, and
Mm.
it just yeah I kind of wish they had as much as I thought that she was the best part of the movie. I still wish the character had remained more similar to the character from the first movie. um
Yeah.
but yeah, it's there's a lot to like, but for the most part it really is, as you said, missed opportunity.
Yeah. And I think the main issue for me in it is is kind of the central story is just didn't get me at all. There's kind of a side story that I guess we'll get into that I found more interesting. Like get into it, like it begins and we get a flashback to 1904, and this is it firefight. There's firefighters in the Ghostbuster building in 1904, and they are
It's yeah, well, it's a firehouse, the Ghostbuster building.
yeah.
It's
But
a
these
fire
guys,
brigade
yeah,
building. Yeah.
it was there was yeah they go up to one of the doors upstairs. Yeah, I was kind of confused straight off. I was just like, it's just the same fucking building. But they enter and they realize that there's a shitload of people have just been frozen, absolutely horrifically frozen, and they find not only frozen bodies, but they find the MacGuffin of the piece, which is this golden ball which houses the terrible fucking evil, blah blah blah. And as a setup, it's interesting. The visuals are good, and we kind of touch on that. That it's set design and some of the CGI is pretty well implemented, because I think it's done on actual sets. It's added to the sets rather than being completely CGI, which is fantastic. But then we jump to present day, and yes, the Spengler family are in Ghostbusters headquarters, and we get the opening action scene, which is them in Ecto 1, which like could never tire of just watching that car
Yeah.
flying around the place. You just grin straight away. It's just one of the most, that and the DeLorean is just the most iconic throwback. Just give you those warm, tingly feelings, whatever fucking age you are, but especially if you're around our age. It's brilliant. And yeah, and you get the family trying to take down a ghost as they fly around Manhattan. Again, CGI is pretty good. But then they start throwing in, remote control car traps to try and catch the ghosts, and there's a Ghostbusters trap on a drone, and it's those aspects when you get into that, it just kind of loses me a little bit. I get that kind of like, oh, this is just too much. It's a bit too silly. What did you think of the opening? It's
Yeah, like it kind of again, I love it. I love the siren that goes off and everything,
yeah,
and
it's just
and
so
the
good.
Ecto One. But those what it reminded me of is, do you know when you were like, you get it now, I suppose even for you've got kids and you're buying toys, is
Mm.
that they add stuff onto them to make them more like, I mean, like
Yeah.
Spider-Man doesn't have a fucking car, but you can buy a
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man's
yeah.
car, and the toys and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah.
When you bought the toys, they added all this extra stuff onto it, and that's what it felt like. It felt like they're
Mm.
just trying to
Sell a
add more
toy.
onto this thing. Yeah, yeah, that's what it felt like, and it was just like really, anyway, I get it. They just wanted to make, as you said, expand it and make it bigger and better. But like the problem is that's obviously crazy technology to have this drone that has
Mm.
this thing that can fly out, comes out of the top of the car, can go and catch. I mean, that's super high tech stuff. Yet what we're shown is the firehouse is fucking falling apart. It's decrepit. They've got leaks.
Yeah.
The place is in absolute fucking bits. It's falling apart. It's like, well, surely it must have cost fucking thousands to put together this fucking drone that is able to open up,
Mm.
come out of the roof, has that can trap a
Fix up your
ghost
gaff,
and all
man.
this kind of shit. Yeah, like he's able to do all this fucking mental shit. Just throw a lick of paint on on
Mm.
the app. You know what I mean? So it was just a bit weird. Like it was. I get it. They wanted to open with a big cool scene, and for the most part, it looked good because I think, as we were saying, the effects are done quite well in this.
Yeah.
For the most part, I didn't really see anything where I was tutting or saying, "Eh." I thought actually it was done pretty well.
Mm.
They didn't go for full massive, too many full green screen scenes. A lot
Yeah.
of it was location stuff, which was good. Um, but yeah, it's like I actually thought that probably the opening third of this movie was probably the strongest part.
Best.
The kind of
Yeah.
setup and getting, yeah, because it was the catching up with them, finding out what's going on,
Mm.
what's happened since they left last. Like, as Carrie Coon and Paul Rudd still together? What's going on with the Ghostbusters? So I thought the setup, the first third, is probably the strongest one of the movie. Whereas
Mm.
really, you kind of wanted to be getting if it can't be strong the whole way out,
Get
it should
stronger. Yeah.
finish strongly at least. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because the
but
central themes that
yeah,
they're going for is, with the family dynamic is Paul Rudd and where he finds his place in the family. He's a stepdad and he's
yeah,
doesn't know how to not so much relate to the kids, but how to be stern with them or how to not just be the funny, likable stepdad. That's a nice running
yeah,
theme, but it's kind of skimmed over and just gets a payoff with one word later on, which is like it's a nice moment, but it falls by the wayside a little bit for me.
yeah,
But there's one thing that has been going on for 40 years in these fucking movies, and it's when something happens and the Ghostbusters save the fucking city or the world, and they've caused a little bit of destruction because they've got fucking plasma fucking weapons and shit, blah blah blah. But it cuts to the mayor, still played same guy, I can't remember his name, but the mayor saying
William
like,
Harderton, William Harderton,
is that yeah?
Atherton.
But he's a great actor, but he confronts them afterwards, and it's the usual, like, I'm going to fucking shut you guys down. You just created millions of fucking damage to the city and blah, blah, blah. And it's just that simple thing. It's just like, you do realize, like, you're the same guy. It's been for 40 years. Like, ghosts exist in this world. There are ghosts. And there's Ghostbusters and they save the world. They have the technology to stop the ghosts. Do you, like, what don't you fucking understand about this? It's still like, no, I'm
Yeah,
going to
like
shut you down. Like,
he's
well, what if you
seen the
shut them
ghosts.
down? You've
Yeah,
seen them.
he,
40 years. People
he
know
saw
there are
them.
ghosts. You've seen them.
Yeah,
It caused
you
destruction
were in the
around the
first
city
movie.
countless times. You were in the first movie. They fucking wrecked the city. It almost like opened a portal to a different dimension. These guys saved the city. It's just a really tired fucking trope. It's just, yeah, did my fucking head in. And it raises its head a few times throughout the movie. But yeah, that just did my nut in. Following on from that, I'll just jump to the introduction. We get introduction to Dan Aykroyd, Ray, who gets a nice part in this. I mean, he's a very likable actor and character, and he kind of plays as well. As in
Yeah,
complete opposite to Bill Murray, but he now has like a spectral ghost business where he he's like almost like the Ghostbuster version of a fortune teller. Basically takes in people's, and an old lady like arrives with a little watch or something and saying that she thinks it's possessed, and he scans it and whatever. That's his essential. That's his business, and we're introduced to his kid, his assistant, who's a kid Is his name podcast, or does he call himself
Yeah,
podcast?
like his
Yeah.
his nickname. Well, I assume. Jesus Christ, what awful fucking parents. No, it's got to be his. Yeah, it's just his nickname. It's just podcast, which is
Mm.
the laziest nickname of all time. But yeah, he actually has some. He actually has some funny moments as one.
Yeah, some
He has a
really funny
great bit
moments. Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah.
yeah, the one where he has the line later on. Maybe you'll come to it when he's talking to Patton Oswalt. You know, when he does it. So and so's already dead. Thanks for fun. It's so he delivers it so well. Like he has a couple of really good lines in it.
Oh, it's good. And just yeah, we're just getting through the extra characters that we're introduced to. We also get introduced to Kamal in was it Nimjani, and he is pawning a box of things into a shop, and this spherical brass ball that was in the opening um, is in that box, and he's always a welcome addition to a cast. But straight away, you just get the feeling that this film was a little bit starting to get a bit bloated. Like it's stick with the cast, add Dan Aykroyd into it. But what do you think about Kamal
Yeah, like I like it's a Kamel
Kamal
Nanjiani, is that it?
Nanjani? Yeah.
I'm always going to pronounce it wrong. Like I
Mm,
like him. I just think that his the whole part, like obviously he comes in, he's come into the shop, and he this orb that we saw at the start of the movie, he brings it
yeah.
in. You know, this is one of my granny's knickknacks or whatever. There's not enough explored with. She's the one. You know, I don't want to jump ahead too much, but you mean
Mm.
his granny obviously was tasked with keeping this and
Oh,
all
we
this
jump
other
ahead.
bunch of
That's
shit.
jump around. Yeah.
Yeah, like she was tasked with keeping all this stuff, you know, with the stuff that kept whatever being was
Mm.
inside this. She's supposed to keep it safe in this room. Like, sure, there's no mention really of her or the whole thing around her. Like, they should have given us more about her and it being passed down through the lineage of da da da. You know, it's just there's nothing there mentioned. You know, there's not enough. Like the room that he goes into that has all the mad artifacts where he picked this little
Mm.
ball thing up out of, and it's just fucking all brass and ornate and all that. There's just did you not ask more questions? You know,
Yeah.
like it's just how has this never come up? Like surely if
Mm.
this was such a big thing in your family of keeping this thing at bay, then she would have been saying it to her next of the daughter, you know, and then the
Yeah. The
daughters or
fact
the
he
grandkids.
has no
This has to
idea.
be kept safe. Yeah,
Mm.
it's so unbelievable that you would have no idea about the
Yeah.
secret room that she has in a New York City apartment. She's
Mm.
got this fucking secret brass room that she's somehow built that has all this shit. If this is the fate
That
of the
no one knows
world
about. Mm.
depends on this stuff, then surely this should be passed down to her fucking, you know, grandkids and great grandkids and everybody else passed down. The fact that she just didn't bother her arse, the family don't seem to know about it, and it's
Mm.
just yeah, that's just it's a secret room of mystery that I shouldn't really be showing you, but yeah, there's a bunch of shit in there. And it's
Yeah.
just
And
it really could have gone in and given us more of that, like to
yeah.
sell that more. But they didn't.
Because yeah, when you see that room later on, which yeah, it's his mother's or grandmother's. His grandmother's.
I thought it was grandmother, but
Yeah,
yeah,
his
yeah, you kept
grandmother's
using
room.
that word. Yeah, go on.
Because essentially, like, yeah, the family are the fire masters. What the fuck are they called? But
It's
they're
actually, I think it's fire. It was fire master, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
was
I
it
think so.
firekeeper? Fire master,
Yeah.
and it was just kind of, I think maybe because they have a scene that almost plays out like Zool, you know, Rick Moranis in
Yeah,
person.
yeah,
Are
yeah,
you the
yeah.
gatekeeper? Are you the
Yeah,
gatekeeper? Are
yeah,
you
yeah,
the
yeah.
key master?
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. He walks into a store, a vape store. The bad guy walks into a vape store
Mm.
called Fire Master. Wherever he walks
Yeah,
in, he's
yeah.
like, "Fire, are you Fire Master?" Your man's like, "Yeah." And read the sign
Yeah.
above the door, and he freezes him to death. It's just
But it's the fact
it's
that
supposed to be a nod to that movie. Yeah.
but yeah, Kamel's family, are these fire masters or whatever, and it's just like he plays it in a way that he's this kind of like surfer esque kind of you know not so much dumb, but just doesn't really take any notice of this. But how, as you're saying, how would this not have been um, conveyed to him in any way, shape, or form that inside this room there's a load of mad shit, but that one ball that contains a fucking demon. It's just like,
Like
don't
she
take
like
that one.
because this has happened. Like we're talking thousands of years before is when this
Yeah,
demon was locked away, right? So like it must have been passed down from so many generations to generations. So you're saying,
yeah,
but when it hit his granny, she went, you know what? I'll build a brass room. I'll keep all the shit, but I'm just not going
yeah,
to bother telling my family about it. It's just there was no that just didn't make sense. Like in
Mm.
this world of of the stakes of what this creature would have been, and then of course because he is of this lineage and he can somehow control fire. How is it? It took Dan Aykroyd to sit him in a chair and go, try and move the fire. And he goes, all right. And he's able to kind of move it. Or like
He
actually
moves
it
the fire.
happens earlier. It's fucking he's getting angry and while he's thinking in the
Yeah.
background, the Bunsen burner, the flame is going up, and that's
Mm.
how Bill Murray goes. He's controlling the fire. It's like,
Mm.
did you not notice throughout your whole life you weren't sitting around a fireplace and you were pissed off and all of a sudden you noticed that your
You burned the
feelings were
house
controlling
down.
the
And
fire?
yeah.
You could like
Yeah.
it took fucking Dan Aykroyd to go here. You could use that. You can control that
Yeah.
fire there. How did you get through your whole life not realizing that? Like,
And the fact that like and this gets me it's such a thing in so many movies, but like where he is, if, we're skipping so far ahead, but fuck it.
ah, fuck it, doesn't matter.
He's the he's the fire master or whatever. And when he does like he controls fire to a point, but it still doesn't do anything. Like he doesn't he doesn't he's not able to defeat the guy on his own. He still needs fucking Ghostbusters with proton packs lined with fucking titanium or whatever. And it's just like, so what
And
happened
actually, and
in
how
the
is
olden days? What happened in the olden days? The lineage going
yeah?
back, the fire. How did they
Maybe there's
defeat him?
a bunch
Maybe
of
there's a
them. There
bunch of
must have
them or
been a
something.
whole mess of them. But how? Because the guy got that control flames. He can do that. But how is he able to bend the stream that comes out of the what do they call the proton gun, the proton pack? They're shooting the oak and it's about to hit it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he puts his hand up and he's able to bend the beam and shoot it out a window instead. It's like so you can control that shit as
Mm.
well. What else can he control? I thought he was just a flame guy, a fire master, flame master, whatever. How come he's able to
Yeah.
control the proton beam
And
as
how did
well?
he know he could do that? Like, why was he trying to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that?
yeah.
It's
Because a
like,
minute ago he could barely move, he could barely spark up a candle, and then all of a sudden he's fucking like a goddamn airbender from
hmm.
fucking. I don't know. It was a bit weird.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, let me think. Some other notes I had here. There was fucking the kid. What's his name? The son. Just need a
Wolfhard.
Wolfhard. Yeah, or just like son Ghostbuster. It's just this throwaway thread. This is like there's so much in this movie where it just seems like they've just thrown everything at the wall. When we're talking about Bill Murray, this whole thing of oh, it's good. Let's throw Bill Murray in. Oh no, it's good already. Let's throw Slimer in. So it's just this fucking thing with the son Ghostbuster being up in the attic and discovers Slimer, and they just have a couple of scenes where so what the fuck is it serves absolutely pretty much no purpose to the entire movie. But it's just one of those scenes where you're just like that's you take those out and you shave a very nice 10 minutes off the movie because it's on 1 hour 55, but it did kind of first hour flew by and then towards the end it was like, oh god, it did feel a bit like a slog. But let's get on to one of my favorite parts is when daughter Ghostbuster, daughter Spengler, um, where she meets a ghost and the setup for this is a bit weird because I think she has a tiff with the family or whatever, and suddenly she's just outside in Manhattan at night in a park playing chess. She's 15 and it's just like, all right, I live in New York. I wouldn't fucking be playing chess at night in the fucking middle of a park.
In a
Um,
fucking park. Like,
yeah, so it's like, what the fuck? But she's playing chess and she meets a ghost starts playing chess with her and then reveals herself to be a girl similar age. And this little kind of back and forth was quite nice, where she's it's like she's met a friend and this girl, like a tortured soul, who was said she was burnt alive when she was a kid. And their kind of thread throughout, and that ghost is eventually gonna backstab her or whatever. But there's definitely kind of a romantic kind of undertones there going on,
yeah,
which
definitely. Yeah.
which I thought was just really nice. Like it just wish straight away, like those scenes. I just wish it was. I wish there was another movie somewhere that had this as a central theme and just exploring kind of what the fuck could go on in that scenario, that realm. What do you think of? I don't know your one's the actress who plays the ghost, but I
I
thought she was
know
very
from
good.
one other thing, she was quite good, and I remembered her from she was in
Mm,
Doctor Sleep. Um,
mm.
where I also think she was 16, and that was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
She's still playing mid-teenager roles. But like I thought she, yeah, I thought she was good, and like you, that was the kind of the most compelling relationship was
Mm,
the two of them. Um, I actually did wonder at one point was something going to happen because she obviously we get to it, but becomes a ghost, so they can be on the same realm and stuff. And I thought
mm,
that something was going to happen between the two of them.
mm,
But they maybe just left it as you said as an undertone. They didn't kind of go into it.
mm.
Maybe as you said in a more interesting movie they might have explored it. They can't
Yeah.
be together because one's a ghost and one's not,
Yeah.
or
Just
whatever.
stick Demi Moore in it, and yeah. But we're also around this time we're introduced to Winston shows up again with his sidekick James Acaster, which I thought was really good. He's really really funny and likable guy. But
Yeah,
they of course have set up their paranormal center of fucking madness in an old aquarium, and with all sorts of crazy gizmos. Um, what do you think of Winston? And let's just even talk about the returning original cast
yeah.
in
Like I mean,
total.
I guess they maybe. I mean, I guess they kind of the way they reasoned having Ernie Hudson in there was to
Mm,
say who someone else had to buy into the fact that the Ghostbusters are really needed, and for some reason, Ernie Hudson is mega rich in this,
yeah,
and he's able to
first
afford
one.
this stuff. They're calling him this multi-million philanthropist, blah blah blah
Mm,
blah. So obviously, they can say, well, look, no one else would have built, no one else would have gone to the effort of building this paranormal research stuff, um, and that's how they're justifying it. But it's so underground and it's
why is
secret
it
and
in
all the
an
rest of it,
old
as you said.
aquarium?
But yeah,
Like, yeah.
it's in an old aquarium. But as you said, we've the world has known for 50 years or 40 years that
Mm.
ghosts exist. Everybody's seen them. There's a giant fucking goddamn marshmallow man in the first one. There's
Yeah.
a Statue of Liberty walked in the second one. Like everybody knows ghosts exist. So why is it this underground lab and stuff? This should be a government agency, if
Mm.
anything. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a real goddamn problem. But like, it was weird that it was so underground and so almost like a lab you would have seen the lads have in the first movie, or
Yeah.
the second one. So I love Ernie Hudson, and he's great and
Mm.
all the rest of it. I just think that was their way of kind of shoehorning him in.
Mm.
But no,
Yeah. And like in his in that, I want to call it a lair, but that kind of uh the place where they're doing all their experiments, and they have machines that can extract the ghosts and spirits from inanimate objects and stuff like that. And this obviously leads into when the sphere essentially arrives there, and they try and extract something to it, and you see that it starts to freeze like James Acaster's hands, and it's just, I always thought after that scene where everyone in the room knows, fuck, there's something going on with this orb, something is awry. But like later on, you go back and it's just still there. They're just like,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
something mad on this one. Let's just put it back on the shelf here, and you're just going, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, burn this fucking, dig the whole biggest hole you can and fucking bury the thing. But yeah, just it was strange. And then we get this like, in terms of exposition and them trying to how do they let them know that there is, basically, how do we get Patton Oswald's scene into this movie? So they go, okay, the
yeah,
little Dan Aykroyd's sidekick podcast boy records that orb kind of freaking out and freezing James's hand, but when he plays it back on his phone, he can hear this chanting on the phone, but that they couldn't hear
yeah.
at the time. And just, what the fuck was that all about? Just,
Yeah, the orb can control ghosts, and so it was in the lab, and it was able to talk to the
mm,
little marshmallow man and the other ghosts that were being held captive were
yeah,
reacting to it. This guy can control ghosts, this
mm,
being that's inside the orb. But yeah, like none of them at the time were going, "Do you hear this fucking chanting? Like, why
chanting it, but
is
the
it?
phone
Is
picks
this
it up.
a
Yeah,
is this a new feature on the latest iPhone or something that picks up ghost chants or something
ghost
like that?
chant
Like,
mode,
yeah,
demonic chant mode.
yeah, it's the new. You just press Shazam and it just picks it up. Like it just, I don't know. It was just, yeah, it was a bit weird. I don't get. They didn't really explain why his phone picked it up, but nobody else did. That wasn't really mentioned.
Yeah. And that leads us in then, like they know, oh, someone is going to know that chant, so they go to an old library, and Patton Oswalt is there, and he yeah, he's in the basement of the library, and he's straight away knows that, oh, that's an ancient chant from fucking, yeah, some shit. What did you think of that scene? He's like, straight away
I
I was thinking,
firstly, yeah,
I love him, but
yeah, me too.
you're just going, why is there
No, but
another character in this? You know?
well, this is it, and this is exactly it. Like, I love Patton Oswalt. I think he's hilarious. I watch his
Mm,
fucking stand up. I love his voice acting. He's great. But it's just this seems like something that Ray could have known. You know what I mean? That could have been something where he played it back on his phone and he's going, hang on a second, that sounds like it's right. Because he has this fucking like little place of curiosities.
yeah.
Surely he could have had one of these and pull it, hang on a second, bring it to the back room. And he could have pulled
Open a
out a big
book and
book
do
because he's mad
something.
into
Yeah.
the occult. He knows
Mm,
everything about the occult. He knows all this fucking stuff. Why couldn't he just pull up a book and go, hang on a second, there's talk of an ancient bloody bloody blah. And we could have just had Dan Aykroyd do it. It could have been Dan
mm,
Aykroyd. We could have shaved off the Patton Oswalt stuff because that's the only scene that he's in and then he's done.
yeah.
And like it's not as if he comes back later on. So it was pointless. Maybe they just wanted to put Patton Oswalt in the
Mm,
movie. I don't know, but there was no need for the character when he was basically a very 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 similar character that to Dan Aykroyd's, and
mm,
to just have Dan Aykroyd do it. It just
absolutely.
seemed unnecessary.
And they set up in that scene where there's they touch on it earlier on in the movie, where there's a ghost that is in that layer, where it's a possession based ghost, where once that escapes, it somehow gets to the library and it steals the reference recording that they were, I don't know what they were going to do with it, but it steals it, possesses a fucking uh, bin bag, and gets out of the library, and then possesses
Yeah,
a fucking a lion statue. And I still never understood that. How then does the concrete then start to move like a like a fucking creature? And then yeah, that just fucking baffled me. Yeah. What did you
yeah,
think? Just that
yeah.
whole
Because as
scene
you
is where
said,
I
it's
just
like
kind of shut off
Well,
completely, going,
yeah,
"Oh
well, because of
man,
all the other things that it's possessing, like the bin
mm,
bag, and it's a pizza, and it's all these things, it's moving within the confines of that inanimate object that
yeah,
it's moving. Because at one point it's
mm,
moving a chair, it's bouncing around this room, and it can just move the animate object.
mm.
But a statue, a sculpture, can't twist its head. It can't do the
Yeah,
stuff like it, and it
it would just
certainly can't
crumble."
roar like this fucking lion is doing. There's nothing it could do. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it didn't make any sense. Like it would make more sense if it jumped into, say, a car and got the car
yeah,
and just fucking tore off in a car. That would make
mm,
sense. You go, okay, well, fine, it's able to control this stuff, but because a car moves, but this statue doesn't move. So why is it suddenly acting like it's, it doesn't. And I get, okay, it's a Ghostbusters movie. I get that anything can happen, but in this realm, all this creature has done so far is only move inanimate objects in a way they could be moved if
mm,
a human being, was to move them, for example. So that part just didn't make any fucking sense. And of course, like you said, you touched on earlier on, Des. So the thing is about the jump on and kill Dan Aykroyd. Is it Dan Aykroyd, or it's about to kill somebody? I can't remember the
yeah.
line. And
Oh
so
yeah, yeah.
McKenna Grace pulls out the fucking proton accelerator gun and she shoots it, and the concrete line explodes. So its damage is done to this fucking historic concrete line that sits outside the library. And so William Arterton comes in. He goes, "This is it. This is what I've been waiting for. The destruction of public property. People love these fucking lines, these big
Mm,
concrete lines. You've destroyed. This is just what I've needed to shut you down." It's like, hang on a second. There's a mess load of witnesses that saw a fucking concrete line about to kill someone. She
mm,
literally saved someone's life. Literally saved someone's life. There's
yeah.
witnesses. The cops are witnesses. There's a bunch of cops there.
Yeah.
But
Everyone fucking
it
knows
just
this
makes, yeah. But he's like, yes, this is what I need to shut you down. Like, this
because
guy's
I'm
a
the bad
psychopath.
mayor. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
just
that's
ugh.
it's. It just made me think of, like, yeah. It just, it's like he's not aware of the world he's in at all. He's just delivering
Yeah.
lines that are just, oh, this will be a fun line. Look, Ghostbusters going to shut you down. It's just like, oh my god, read the script, man. Like, come on. It's just, yeah, it's just shoddy and kind of lazy to a point. But I'm just going to get to the like the orb when it's released. But it's this part that that baffled me slightly, where what's her name again, Mackenzie?
I think it's
She's in
McKenna
the
Grace.
McKenna Grace when she is in this lab and she's chatting to her kind of ghost friend, ghost chess buddy, who we know at this point is working for the Dark Force or whatever. And McKenna decides to get inside one of these particle separator things or whatever to separate her spirit from her body, and she said she'll have 2 minutes to do that so that they can chat. So she can chat with the ghost on the same realm or wavelength or whatever. And I had no fucking idea when I was sitting there why this was happening. I just can you enlighten me?
Yeah,
And what
so
was the 2 minutes all about? I didn't.
but
The fuck
the
was that?
thing is, right, so I get so the whole thing was that a human has to speak the words, right? So there's a chant
Mm,
that those lads in that frozen room had said, that's what got
mm,
recorded, that they were that's what released people from the orb, but it has to be
mm.
said by a human. So he can't
Okay,
just
yeah,
get one
yeah.
of his ghost buddies, like the
Mm.
ghost buddies, to walk
To
up, say the
recite it,
chant,
yeah.
and release him. He needed a human. So, but he
Mm,
couldn't control a human to do it because he can only possess ghosts. So he needed but if he possessed her ghost, then and got her ghost to chant it,
mm.
but her while her ghost person said it, her real body was saying at the same time
Yeah,
because it cuts to
but
the real body
but
saying.
how was that
So
his
the
plan when she did that willingly,
but
right?
that's it. But that's it. Well, no, she's not doing it willingly. He's control. And she. That's. Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, she willingly got into that
Yeah,
thing, and that was her idea. How
yeah.
would he have known that? How would the other ghost person have known that? How would anybody know that she
How
was
would he
going to do it?
control
It would.
a human being
Yeah, it
if
would have
he
been way
can't?
like it. It might have made sense if the ghost girl
Had
had
enticed her
said to
into it,
her,
or yeah,
Is
yeah,
there
yeah.
is there any way that the two of us could be together?" Da, da, da. You know what I mean?
hundred
And she's like, "I've
percent.
no way to make you real, but da, da, da." Is there some like how does she even know they have a machine that can do
Yeah.
that? You know, that can actually separate it or can,
Mm.
so it was just
It was
how did you know two
convenience.
minutes
Yeah,
would be
it's
enough?
just
You know, there was no reason like she didn't have to con her into it. McKenna
mm.
Grace literally says, "Do you know what? If you come to the lab, we've got a machine. I can turn into a ghost for a few minutes. We can have a bit of crack." Maybe she was hoping to get the ride. I don't know, but it was just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever they were just. But it was just let's get us on the same fucking dimensional plane or whatever the hell their word they were using. But like you said, how could that have been his plan, or how could it even be the ghost person's plan? Because it was
Yeah.
McKenna Grace who actually comes up with the idea.
Mm.
So
And then
that doesn't, yeah,
conveniently allows the rest of the movie to happen,
yeah, yeah, because he
which
doesn't
is
get released otherwise. You
yeah.
know,
But then yeah, he's released, and we get some of the frozen CGI of the title, Frozen Empire.
Yeah,
Um,
we get
with
Skybeam. Don't forget the sky.
yeah, the
Forget the
Skybeam, yeah,
Skybeam.
Skybeam, fucking
Every fucking sci-fi movie
yeah,
has to have a fucking Skybeam.
yeah.
Shoots into
Manhattan,
the
Manhattan
sky.
loves a
Yeah,
Skybeam, like
yeah. We
shoots into
only
the
know
fucking
that
sky,
everything's been solved and okay when the Skybeam is gone. That's
and it
only how the good
has to be
guys
red,
have finished the movie. Just
ready pinkish. Yeah,
it's 2024. Why is there still Skybeams? It's 2024. Have we knocked it over? It's like a meme at this point. Just knock it off.
yeah.
Uh,
It's
Anyway,
going to be raining tomorrow. Oh, Skybeam, fucking thunder, fuck's sake! But yeah, he escapes, and we get scenes from the trailer where everyone's on the beach, and suddenly big fucking storm incoming, and Manhattan starts to freeze over. But really, we get the beach scene where people are running from their lives, and everything is ice spikes fucking arriving everywhere. And when you get a few little bits of Manhattan, but later on we cut to Manhattan and the whole fucking thing is frozen. It's just like,
yeah,
whoa, that happened fucking quickly. Didn't really get a sense of that. But then the evil entity, yeah, he escapes that lair, and he goes to try and find the Fire Master. Um, yeah, the VFX here was pretty good. I'm not too sure about the VFX on the guy himself. The close up of his face reminded me of Steppenwolf
yeah,
from kind of
yeah. They even gave him the
from
horns.
Justice League. Yeah, it was just like, but when he was when it was kind of wider shots of him, his tall, sleek,
Smoke.
slender, yeah, and the smoke coming out, and his horns, and really long hands with fucking enormous fingers. That was a very chilling. Like the further away you were
But
from
yeah,
him, it was pretty,
yeah,
yeah, pretty
because
striking.
sometimes it was almost his eyes and you could just see it erupt the
And just
shape
two
and
glowing
the two
eyes. Yeah,
glowing eyes, and
yeah,
that was cool. But yeah, like the close-ups of his face, they look so. undetailed. You know, really like they just kind of almost featureless, kind of real.
Mm,
Yeah, if you're gonna give him the big fucking close up of him, then that's where you want to spend your money. Get him looking absolutely
absolutely.
terrifying. But it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a pity because they'd done so well. I think for most of it, that was a bit of a
Yeah.
bummer.
Yeah. Because like I think budget wise it was 100 million, which you're kind of going, that's pretty decent looking movie for 100 million. You kind of go, right, you've got your big kind of spectacles towards the end, but it's in the last act, it's in the last 20, 30 minutes. That's where you're spending your money, which is good, which means that some of the other effects littered throughout the movie get their due and look pretty fucking decent. But yeah, evil baddie arrives to the firehouse, and there's a point in this where it's the point I was talking about, like Kumail when he's the realizes he's the fucking fire master, whatever, and has a fireball and all the shit. But the proton packs that they're shooting at him are not working at this moment at all. And it is, you get to a point of like, how the fuck are they gonna, how the Ghostbusters is going to save the day when their main weapon isn't working? And it's just like, and now at one point, just like, just cross the streams, guys. That always works. And they never fucking did it in this movie. It's just like, come on, I fucking know that, like, dumbasses. But but it's not working. But McKenna, don't really know how she realized this, but she gets brass from
No,
the
I think
firehouse to put
they've
into the
meant
proton pack.
well, they mentioned brass like fucking so much throughout it. Like it's all
Mm,
kept in a brass room. He was getting clothes in a brass ball. Like they mentioned brass
yeah. Okay.
shitloads. I think just so I think
Mm,
they can have this part where she's like, okay, I can dip our insides of this fucking our my proton pack in brass,
yeah.
and for some reason that will change
Yeah.
the
That'll
beam that comes
work.
out, and that yeah, and
Yeah.
and it does.
and, and thankfully, it actually fucking does, and it works. And yeah, they do. But
Yeah,
at this point,
I
but Bill
suppose we
Murray
should
arrives. Bill Murray arrives as well. We should say that. Yeah, Bill
Yeah,
Murray has arrived at this point.
Bill Murray shows up for no reason really. He doesn't.
Mm.
There's no, as I said,
Should,
there's no point. But we should say that like the reason that she's kind of gone off and she's being a bit of a moody teenager is that she's been excluded from being a Ghostbuster
oh yeah.
from the family because she's 15, because she shouldn't be doing it. She should be fucking studying, staying home. She's been real sidelined. She's
Mm.
upset. That's why she went off to the park in the first place. She's being
Yeah.
sidelined by them. So during this part where Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, fucking what's it, Carrie Coon, Paul Rudd,
Mm.
everybody is all firing their laser beams at him or proton beams at him, and nothing's happening. And then they all end up getting almost fucking frozen to death. They're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
stuck. She comes in, they're gonna prove herself, save the day, and she comes in, she has her fancy fucking proton gun that's now being dipped in brass, and this helps her to fucking
yeah.
to shoot him and hold him back. Um, isn't that when Kumail Nanjiani comes in
Yeah.
the armor gear? That's fucking priceless. Like,
Yeah. He's
the brass
brilliant. Like,
armor. Yeah.
he's great. But
Um.
like, yeah.
Go
But like,
on.
Bill Murray has arrived. And all I could think of when, even before they take him down or whatever, just a wide shot when you see them all kind of frozen and stuff. It just shows how bloated the characters are in this movie. Like there's Ghostbusters movie, and I think there's 9 people in Ghostbuster suits in that scene, and Kamal,
Yeah.
and then McKenna arrives, so there's like 9 or 10 people. There's like 10 Ghostbusters. Like why are they all why are they all Ghostbusters? It's just, oh come on, man. Yeah, just yeah, it just didn't hit as well as you thought it would. But Kamal is brilliant. But yeah, what do you think about him in the armor?
Yeah.
Go
It's
on,
that.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, the armor was gas, like, because he's just to go and help them. You see him looking down, and they've brought a load of stuff from that brass
Uh,
room, and one of it was this kind of fucking suit of armor gear.
yeah,
Um, so he throws the fucking suit of armor on, and he arrives down, and the suit of armor obviously was made for a woman, and it has this little kind of veil that kind of hangs down these little chains, and it's just so funny when he arrives in wearing this fucking thing. But anyway, because McKenna Grace has been shooting him with her laser thing, but he's so powerful that he's able
mm,
to kind of stop her and freeze and stuff. So
mm,
then he comes in and fucking fires a lot of fireballs at him, and he comes in dressed in the gear. I'm the fire master, and he's wearing this armor and the little veil thing. That I thought he was great comic relief in it.
mm.
I thought I did really enjoy him. I enjoy him in actually in pretty much everything I've seen him in. He's really really good. Um, But yeah, that's kind of it was, as you said, super bloated because you've got the girl Finn Wolfhard. I thought was going to be some sort of romantic thing between him and
Hmm.
that girl from the first movie. She's worked. She turns out she's from working with them as well, so
Hmm.
she's got a proton energy pack. Like there's just a whole mess of them, and it's just yeah, it's too fucking much. Just have them if you really want to give them a cameo or something, just have them at the end of the phone where you ring them and ask them for a bit of advice. They
Yeah.
give you the advice. Okay, we've checked in that character and done. Move on. It's just it's bloated. Really does. Yeah, is the best word for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because like when you think of Afterlife and the fact that as much as we mentioned they just touch on this nostalgia and you get a bit of Dan Aykroyd or whatever, but it's kind of a love letter to Harold Ramis more than anything. But the fact that that was a success on some moderate levels, that it's strange that the follow up to that has even less confidence again. That they go, hold on, no, let's get all the old guys in, and let's boost up the nostalgia. That's something that you would have expected Afterlife to be in 2021. That like they would have tried
Yeah.
that, and then if that was a success, maybe the Spengler family could go out on their own. Because every time Bill Murray's delivering a funny quip, and I don't know if they're funny or not in the movie because I just smile when he just delivers kind of anything, even when he's phoning it in. He'll always get a smirk or a mild chuckle. But every time that one of them is kind of on screen delivering pointless, um, not so much nonsense, but just like they're taking screen time away from, for me, Carrie Coon, who I felt was in about 4 scenes in the movie. She's in
Yeah.
the, like
She's
she's
incredible.
she's one of the best actresses in recent memory, and she takes a backseat in this big time. But
Did they just not trust them to carry it? Like, because they carried the
yeah,
first one. You know, what I mean, and
big
like
time.
the Phil Wolfhard has been in a bunch of stuff since. He's a
Mm,
great actor. As I said, the kid, McKenna Grace is great. Paul Rudd's just is a superstar.
amazing, yeah.
Carrie Coon is fantastic. I mean, they've shown they can carry the movie, so why not let
As a
them carry a
foursome
second movie?
family, like it's as good as you get in terms of that family dynamic. In the first movie was fucking really strong. Like, it was the best part of it. It's the
Yeah.
reason.
So
It's
like,
the reason the movie
so what is
worked.
the
All the
reason?
emotional things worked because of their chemistry. So why they dial back some of, like, why Carrie Coon is not, and Paul Rudd are just not thrust to the forefront of this completely is beyond me. It just smacks of too many cooks, just throwing a lot of
Yeah.
shit at the wall. But yeah, did we finish up what happened or not? Did we?
No, I mean
No.
they obviously they get they so God, it's kind of stupid the way they catch him as well. Like they have some bullshit fucking line, and even they don't even let Dan Aykroyd explain it. So basically, they're shooting their one guy's shooting her. Kumail Nanjiani's shooting fire. McKenna Grace is shooting her laser beam at him, and they're like, "Well, how are we going to get him trapped into a trap? He's not going to." So they try to fly
Oh
the drone
fuck
up,
yeah! I even
but the
forgot that.
drone gets
Wow.
the drone gets smashed apart. So, well, how are we going to get
Yeah.
him? So it just so happens they're standing above the containment unit that's under the
Mm.
fire station. And Dan Aykroyd has some line about if we reverse the something 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 da 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 da. And he's trying to explain why if he pulls if he does whatever he does, it'll suck this fucking creature down and lock him
Mm.
in the machine. But they even Bill Murray even like he just like he's in the middle of explaining. Bill Murray goes, "Look, we believe you. We believe that it'll work. Just do it." He even just stops them from having to explain it to the audience because Dan Aykroyd hits fucking three buttons. Is all he hits on this machine. Goes bop bop bop, and then pulls the handle. He doesn't have to fucking mess around or hot wire or anything. It's literally
Yeah.
just bang 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 done. This whole big explanation for the point bang, and that's it. He gets sucked. That big ghost gets sucked in. Now, of course, because the frozen shit's already happening, the rest of the other ghosts that got released are all out milling around the city. Which, when you think about it, that's all the fuckers from the first movie and the second movie.
For
So some of the most dangerous, awful fucking ghosts are all out there around fucking
that's
New
kind of
York now.
just skimmed
Um,
over, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, like you get a shot like towards the end where we see a bunch of the ghosts flying around, but like some of the big bads are locked up in this thing. Um, it's yeah, it's a bit weird. But anyway, that's how they capture him,
Yeah.
and the whole world know, or the whole city know again that the Ghostbusters saved the day, and William Arkerton then is kind of cornered by his
Still,
muse,
yeah. But he's
and
but still up to that
he
moment, he's
starts
like, "I'm
saying,
going to shut you
yeah,
down again." And just like, what? Fucking
What
broken
do you think you were
record, man.
doing? Yeah, and it takes him. He's stuck. He's on camera, and Paul was like, "Didn't we say that you were just saying that you thought we were great and you
Coerce
saved the
him
day?" And
into
he's forced
agreeing,
to.
yeah.
He's forced to admit on camera that he agrees, and he's behind the
Hmm.
Ghostbusters, and and off they go.
And
But
McKenna
it's
says, says to
yeah,
when they head off to, we've got work to do or whatever, and she says, "Come on, Dad," or something to Paul Rudd, and that's
yeah,
the payoff. Just like, oh, she called him Dad, but it's such a throwaway. It's like someone completely forgot about their little arc together, the father daughter, stepfather daughter,
yeah,
where that should have been something like, like the moment in Guardians of the Galaxy when he's, when they're all holding hands and he sees flashbacks of his mom, that kind of poignancy. It should have been something where like Paul Rudd is like holding her proton pack as she's almost dying and she's just like, come on, Dad. And, something like that where he looks at her and goes, oh,
yeah.
yeah. But it's just a throwaway kind of like, okay, Dad. And off they go. And it's just, yeah, it's like it was written it's like it was written at the last minute. Just like, oh, stick
Yeah.
that in.
It's like we've said multiple times, another missed opportunity.
Hmm.
Another chance that you could have done something there and give us that emotional connection that we kind of got from in the first movie. You had a
Hmm.
chance to have one of those moments and didn't take it.
Yeah, because it's just kind of not so much cowardice, but just chickening out that's poignant enough, or that the audience are with you enough that that's going to be a moment to savor towards the end of a movie or at a pivotal moment in a movie, and they don't do it. It's a throwaway after everything is basically the movie's about 10 seconds from ending, and they throw in
Yeah,
just that just wrecked my head. But
and
just a bit of
yeah,
bit of a mess. It's like it's enjoyable to a point, like enjoyable, but a lot of it just kind of going, yeah, like we only watched it like this afternoon, and I already like, yeah, when you mentioned that, I'd forgotten the ending. Like my notes kind of trail off like after about an hour. It's one liners. It's just like evil entity escapes, tries to find Firemaster, VFX good, Bill Murray arrives. There my notes. It's just like, yeah,
but
it's
but,
just
but even the stinger doesn't really make sense. So the stinger after
mm,
the credits thing is
mm.
there's a guy at a truck stop and he goes to get out and he's going to make a phone call or just
Oh
something. He's
yeah.
away. He's not pumping gas. He's away from maybe he's going to the
Yeah,
bathroom or
yeah.
something. And next thing his truck starts up and his truck starts driving off. And the I came into my head was like, oh, is that
The
possessor
possessing
demon? Is
thing,
that what
yeah.
it is? But it's not. It's his truck is all the little tiny marshmallow guys who were in the first movie. They have all a bunch of them have jumped into the truck and
Mm,
like one of them's working the steering wheel. Well, obviously one of them must be working the pedal, the whole rest of it. But it's like,
How
how did they
heavy are
get to
they?
the
Yeah.
truck stop? And secondly, that truck that they're driving has a big thing on the side of it: Stay Puft Marshmallows. So we're like,
Yeah.
well, how did they get first of all, how did they get a truck? And why did the truck happen to be a Stay Puft Marshmallow truck?
It's
It's just,
just
I
like
don't know. They just want to give them one more.
it's some clever guy in the writing room being really clever and just being too clever and just going, guys, I've got it, and just says that to a room of people and they all go, Bob, you're a fucking genius. That's how it happens.
Stick a zero onto your bonus, Bob,
Yeah.
because
Do you want to direct
you've
Madam
nailed
Web
it.
2? Fuck's sake. But yeah, just a bit of missed opportunity is the the biggest thing that comes to mind. I mean, it's, as we said, it was nice to watch a movie that we didn't kind of go, Jesus fucking Christ, that's awful. And unfortunate that it's not something that we come out going, that was really good, really enjoyed that. It's kind of sitting in the middle, more enjoyable than
Yeah, like yeah, I don't
Spaceman,
know.
but
Yeah,
just
like I would
yeah.
if I hadn't seen like if this was on streaming for anybody who isn't going to go and see it on the screen on streaming, I actually would recommend watching it. Like
Mm,
as much as there was, there's a lot of missed opportunities in it. I was still there's enough here that kept me entertained. Like when it was finished, I kind of went, okay, I didn't like the stinger at the end,
mm,
but I was thinking overall. I was entertained. There's enough jokes. Paul Rudd is funny. There's some really
mm,
good lines delivered. It looks really good for the most part. But there's enough here to keep you entertained that if it was streaming and you're looking for
mm.
something easy to watch, to throw it on for sure. But I don't know with some of the cool stuff that's in the cinema and coming out at the moment. I think that's probably where I'd spend my cinema money,
Yeah.
or cinema time. Than going to see this.
And it'd be
If
interesting to
anybody out
see.
there is listening to a recommendation.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it does as well because I think it's 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is I've seen some reviews that are like 1 out of 5 and 2 stars, and I think they're just read a few of them and just overly bashing it for not being a movie that they wanted, in that kind of way.
Yeah.
I think unwarranted backlashes and review bombing of it. I think it's perfectly serviceable film. Like if it was on streaming, I would catch it. But if it doesn't
Yeah.
do well and with the bad reviews, I mean, is that the end of this franchise? Is that the end of kind of Ghostbusters until they reboot it with fucking kids in five 5 years time or something? But I
I
think
suppose it depends on the money it makes, but I think that I think for me, I'd say a 3 out of 5 score would be fair
yeah,
because
three
it
for
is
me.
definitely watchable. It's I think that's a fair score for it. I would be happily watch another one if they just shifted to the family, to the Spangler
Mm,
family and Paul Rudd, and just leave out the other guys. Maybe if you want to have Dan Aykroyd in it, where you drop in for a bit of fucking
yeah,
info, for
keep
a
it to a scene or
scene,
two.
grand. But yeah, but just give them their own movie. They did well in the first one, and let's see where that goes.
Mm,
Um, Knock out the fan service and just see, can you make it for like a new audience, a new fresh audience that maybe
mm,
isn't wasn't arsed with the original movies or is too young for them, never saw them. Just pitch it to a new audience with that family and see
yeah,
how that goes. That I'm happy to watch a third movie, but if it's going to be another one like this where we're getting the aging original Ghostbusters from 40 years ago, I just don't think I'd be interested in even watching it.
no, absolutely. But yeah. So that's Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. Catch it on streaming when you can.
All right, Deadly. Thanks a million for that, Daz. I suppose then, well, that's it for the movie. We can jump over into the retro corner. So, as I said, for the retro corner this week, we're going to go all the way back to 1998 for Metal Gear Solid 1. No, no, just Metal Gear Solid, sorry, on the
Yeah,
PlayStation
yeah.
1. I had never played the originals. I'm not even sure if we could get them in Europe. But definitely, I would have been too young. I know they came out in
Mm,
the 80s, but I definitely don't remember them. I've never played them. I know that I've seen video of them, but I've
mm.
definitely never played Metal Gear 1. Did you ever play Metal Gear 1 and 2 on the NES or whatever it was?
I think I played Metal Gear Solid 1, but way after it
Well,
came
see,
out. Yeah.
no, but I'm not talking about Metal Gear Solid. I'm talking about Metal Gear and Metal
Oh, Metal
Gear
Gear.
2
Jesus,
because
no, no,
they
no. No, never. Yeah.
no.
Not at
So
all.
they wrote it, and I think they were both in the NES, but I'm not even sure if we got them in Ireland. But no, I've never
Mm,
played them and still haven't. But so my first experience was with this on the PlayStation One.
the first one, yeah.
So like this, for anybody who hasn't played it, it's like an action stealth game, the action stealth
Mm,
game. The franchise is known really for just really cool bonkers characters. Like backstories are so convoluted storylines. But when I say convoluted in this sense, it's convoluted in the most fantastic way because it's by the genius of Hideo Kojima, who did the Death Stranding and stuff. Fucking long live the king.
mm.
He's a nutcase, and it's just the hammy fucking stories, the over the top characters, the names that like Big Boss and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of the characters in one of the games is called Paramedic. It's just real. They've got these
And he gets
mad
away with it.
names. Yeah, Psycho Mantis, Revolver Ocelot. They're just like crazy ass names, mental fucking plots. The
Mm,
games are known for these wild stories, and this one, is no different. So what I loved about this, so they changed it up for this, I think, compared to you see screenshots or see the art even from the first two
mm.
games from the NES of what the main character and Snake was going to look like, and or Big Boss or wherever was going to look like. They got this artist in. I can't think of his name. It's obviously Japanese, and I would have got it wrong anyway. But they
Yeah.
they brought him in and gave him this cool, and this he came up with this cool art style. It's real. Oh, it's real, kind of like a flowing sketch kind of style. It's real
Yeah.
sketch style, and they ended up using this art style then for all the characters for each of the games has this style in some way or another, and it's really gorgeous. Way it's kind of like the way the Final Fantasy stuff have kept the same kind of logo.
Mm,
But it's just real. What this style looks like the way they do these sketches of the characters. Um, And it's because they did put a lot of effort into redesigning the characters, like the main character, Snake from this character is obviously very heavily influenced by Snake Plissken from Escape from New York and
Yeah,
Escape
yeah.
from LA. You know, he's obviously modeled around him. And you see even more in the other games when he's got the fucking eye patch and everything, you know. Um, but like they put so much effort into the design of characters to make it way more involved.
Mm,
And to make him more believable as a character. Like last time I did the retro corner. I was doing Tomb Raider, and I was
mm,
mentioning how good Lara looked for the technology at the time, how it was pushing it, you know. But
mm,
like Snake, the amount of work that went into him was so much more. So although Lara, you could kind of see her face and stuff, Snake's face was kind of a little bit blurred. But it was all about the amount of polygons they put into the body. They used like over twice the amount, which was only 700 or something like that, which is way low by today's standards. But back then, that was like over twice the amount they'd used for Lara Croft. So his body movements were so much more fluid, you know,
mm.
whereas Lara's would have been much more rigid. She stands up to go jump or she jumps and her hands come down by her
Yeah,
side. You know,
yeah, you could see
it's
the
real
momentum
rigid.
in
And
his
it's,
movement when he's walking. You could see when he
yeah,
turned, you could
yeah.
start to see that stuff. Yeah, it'd blow your
Yes.
mind back
And
in the
not
day.
just, yeah, it really did, and not just him, but the bad guys as well. You know, everything was really just fluid movement, and it was the amount of work they put in. Obviously, was huge. And it's mad. But this game was initially going to be if they pitched it as a first person shooter, and that's the way they
Oh
wanted to
wow.
do it. Yeah, and I love first person like
Mm.
stealth and first person games, but it was mad to think had they gone with that, what the
Uh-huh.
series could have been like. And I know you can go into first person mode way more as the
Mm.
games go on, but it's mad to think what this game could have looked like.
Yeah.
But it was actually it was Hideo Kojima who said no, put the mockers in that. He's like, no, we're not doing that. You know, it's going to be um it can't be first person. It's going to be third
Yeah.
person. So like, and I think it's great. I love the way they have the camera work in this. The way you're
Mm.
staying out of the side of the guards and you're staying out of the
Mm.
side of the cameras and stuff. You know, it's all you can just see their kind of the cones of view. Do you know that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah. The
stuff?
cones of view was fucking
Yeah,
brilliant. Like you're just like, oh my
yeah,
god,
it
yeah.
really is. Like,
It's added to the puzzle element that they could read because you could see their point where the guards could see in those cones. It really meant they could amp up the threat level. You know, if that wasn't there in previous games, there might just be one guard and you'd see his pattern and you can move past him. But this with the cones when they're turning, you
yeah,
could really kind of like, oh, I need to get over here. He's turning his head. Go back this way. You know, I always
and,
remember
and
that.
it's
It's
such
just
it's
like
such,
terrifying.
and like as you said, it makes some sense, and it makes sense now, and obviously that's why we see it in a bunch of other games.
Mm,
But it was so cool then to see that. Like now you can kind
yeah,
of always see, you know, it kind of comes up on your hood, maybe a
there's
little
some
arrow.
kind of
You know,
indicator.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
it's going white, it's going yellow, it's going red. Okay, now they see you. You know, whereas that was just once you managed to stay out, and there's all these cool little things as well, which was great for a game that old. Like you could for that time, like if you were injured and you were leaving drops of blood, the guards were
Yeah,
smart. They'd spot the blood on the ground and kind of go,
yeah,
hang on, something going on around here. You know,
yeah.
or hear footsteps, you know, and stuff. It was
It was a new level of
so
AI
intelligent.
for enemies. Yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
really was. It
Really
was
did
so
push the boundaries.
intelligent, you know, and they're still, I mean, they're still ticking in some ways, you know, the way a
Mm.
lot of AI is. But it was just, I'm sorry for any AI program that's listening, but it's going to take over the world soon. I'm not calling you thick,
Yeah,
but
yeah. We love
but it
you.
was, you know,
Yeah.
but it was, you know, it was cool, and like they still got to put in some first person parts, like you know, you could if you stayed still, you could kind of jump into the first person view just so you
Mm.
could scope shit out. You know, but you
Mm.
couldn't move in first person. So stand still, scope out kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Or when you went into like a vent, it would automatically
Mm.
switch over to it, you know, first person. But for the most part, it was a top down style game, right? And what I absolutely loved, as you love this, is super cool, they wanted to make sure the angles were right and all the levels you go into because it's top down at an angle, kind of top
Mm.
down. They needed to make sure the angle was right. The camera angle was always right. So when you went into a new section, that
Mm.
enough of the room was shown that you could see if there's going to be a guard, if there's something you could hide behind. Like you had to know what the room looked like, so you weren't kind of blind. Because how could you be doing
Mm.
stealth if you couldn't really map out what you're going to do? So what
Yeah.
they did was Hideo Kojima and his team got a mess of Legos, and they built Lego levels all in Lego. and then they got a small little camera, and they moved the
That's
camera through
brilliant.
and worked out where the camera would need to be
What to
in
show?
each
Yeah, yeah,
room.
yeah.
Yeah, so
That's
they'd
fucking
know, okay, when
class.
it go, yeah,
Yeah.
so when it goes into
Yeah.
level one, room three, the camera will need to be up here in the top left,
Mm,
X amount of feet from the ceiling, or from the
mm.
floor to work it. And that's so cool. What a great
But
little
it
way of doing
totally,
it. So they were,
yeah, that totally explains that, like, where sometimes where you go up, you enter a room and the camera will just ever so slightly just kind of pull back or something to give you a different view. They're just adjusting, like it looks like adjusting on
yeah,
the fly, but they're just gonna, no, you need to know, you just need to know, you need to see just the corner of this wall, so we're going to show it to you. And you just go, that's fucking
yeah,
brilliant, like
yeah.
game design. Yeah.
And it was cool. Like, and they just had a little tiny little camera, and it was connected up to a screen, camera on the wire, and they
It's
literally
so
just
clever.
moved it through the level and just looked at the camera, and go, okay, and then it needs to be up here. Someone make a
Yeah,
note
yeah.
of that kind of thing. Um, so really, really cool. Like, and that was that added even more to it because you weren't it didn't feel unfair then.
Mm.
It felt more real, I guess, more realistic and stuff in it. Um, I'm not even going to get into the chronological order of the games themselves because I think like Metal Gear Solid 5 takes place before the NES games even.
Does
I
it?
don't know. Like, yeah, I'm
Like I've
not
I've
sure.
only
I'm pretty
played
sure that
one and five. Like
oh,
I
have
never,
you?
yeah, I never
Really?
played two, three, or
So what
four.
is yeah? So what is your experience of this? When did you first play them?
Like I played it, like my self proclaimed hate of PlayStation meant I didn't play it when it came out. It was only like after I got a grip and said, right, this is. I'd watched people play it. I remember
Hmm.
playing it years and years later when I think it was in someone's house and they had a PlayStation. It's like, well, it's not technical. I didn't buy the PlayStation so I can play it. What a fucking knob! Like, but I remember, yeah, playing it for about 20 minutes, and that turned into about 2 hours in someone's house. And just going, this is absolutely fucking fantastic. Didn't finish the first one, but played a lot of it. I think it's only, was it 8 to 10 hours long or something like that?
Yeah, it's not a long
Yeah.
game. Like I think the GameCube version was
Mm.
a little longer. The GameCube version they brought out changed a bunch of stuff. Like it made
Yeah,
it,
I didn't even
they
play
added
that one.
in some
Yeah.
extra cinematics, and yeah, like it added in
Mm.
because at this point when the GameCube one came out, I'm pretty sure the second game had already come out, so they kind of let you
Yeah,
do some of the stuff that you could do in
they
the second
adjusted it.
game,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, whereas the originally you couldn't, and so it made some areas way easier. Like
Mm.
because you could in the second game you can jump over and hang from railings and stuff that you can't do in the
Okay, yeah.
first one, and so you have to kind of sneak past cars, sneak past cameras. But
Mm.
because they added it into the GameCube version, you could kind of skip past sections because you could do
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
you couldn't normally do. So it was a bit of a bummer, but it did look so much better,
Better, yeah.
um, which was cool. But
But then, yeah, I didn't
I think
play
I just
any
think
after that. Yeah, until
you
until
played the
five.
fifth
Yeah,
though.
played the
Yeah,
fifth.
I like the fifth.
But the fifth was just like a glorified, amazing tech demo for something. Where it's just like this is this whole world. Just plonk you in it, and the the physics engine, let's say, and what you can do in that game is just like you could play it forever. Just every time you just go to a
Yeah,
new base, you have a new thing. It's just everything's constantly moving. You have to do different things, different enemies. There's like a million ways that you can um, clear a base or do anything on that map. But I do remember in the story, like I played it for fucking hours and hours, and it got to a point where some mad, crazy, fucking bonkers character arrived, and it just made no like because didn't know how mad the games really were until
right. Okay. Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? And there's some guy who was like teleporting around the place, just going. I thought this was a fucking open world, fucking military, fucking espionage shooter, and then it's just fucking mad, crazy, otherworldly beings. I'm just like, wow, like I really, really didn't see that coming. And that's what I look back into the previous games, and that's when I really got a sense of how absolute fucking bonkers Hideo is like and
Yeah.
saw
He's a
some of the
nutcase.
cutscenes from some of the other games and was just like, oh wow, like this has always been fucking bananas. And then obviously playing Death Stranding, you kind of go, all right, he is like, I'd love to just get inside his head, just to hear 10 seconds of his thoughts, just be entertaining, like for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
dying to see what him and Jordan Peele come up with.
100%, yeah.
Like
It's really
because
like,
they'll probably have a bunch of future collaborations.
yeah, and people like him
I
need to
suppose
be
that's just
celebrated, and they need to be given free reign to just fucking just go nuts. Even as Death Stranding, like, off topic, but like as bonkers as that gets, and how some of the end of it is just like it's painful, how mad and cringe it is. But it's like, but he got to fucking make it, and it's just fair play to you, because I love that game, but it's fucking bananas, like it. So I'd be interested to go back and watch or play through some of like 2 and 3, especially. I think.
Well, two is my favorite. Like, and I think and
Mm,
it was a little bit two was kind of controversial because they brought in a new character.
mm.
It was kind of was real marketed as you controlling Snake and the whole
Oh, and you
game,
play
and
as
you
someone
start
else, yeah.
off controlling Snake, and then they
Mm,
brought in this other character,
yeah,
Raiden. But I think story wise, some of the stuff they touch into is real, psyops, fucking, it's double crossing and all sorts of stuff.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought that the story for that one was really cool. That's my favorite one out of the series. Um, but just a quick back. I won't spend too much longer on this, but just the story basically in this one is it's set 6 years after the second one that was on the NES, Metal Gear 2. You play as a Solid Snake, called out of retirement to prevent this group called Foxhound from carrying out a nuclear disaster, um, using a thing on Metal Gear Rex, I think it is.
Mm.
As you would, standard stuff. I'm not going to go mad into the plot because most people will have played it, and if you haven't played it, then you should definitely play it. I
Go
don't
and
want to
play
ruin
it.
the mental plot
Yeah.
for you. They actually released a compilation of the first, second, and third game last year, but it's still too expensive. If you ask me, I think it's still like 45 quid
Oh,
because it's
fucking
too
hell.
expensive because Blue Point are great, yourself for doing the HD remakes of games,
Mm.
and they
Brilliant.
did remakes of the second and third game in 2011. That's great, but and they're included on this. But the as far as I know, the this particular game that's on it is just a port directly
Oh, fucking
from
hell.
the version
Yeah.
they put. I don't think it's a HD remake, or it's not the GameCube version. It's just the
Mm.
original thing. So I definitely wouldn't be paying for it. It's something I'd wait till you get free on PlayStation Plus or something. It's not
Absolutely,
worth
yeah.
45 quid for the
No.
um but definitely worth it. Really, if you haven't played it, get around to playing it. Like it's got great quality cutscenes. They give it this really cool cinematic feel. Great voice acting. The music is great.
Mm.
Snake is this real gruff character. Kind of almost reminds me of
Such a
Wolverine.
brilliant character, like,
Such a
yeah.
badass. Like yeah, he's
Yeah.
like fucking Clint Eastwood, Snake Plissken, and Wolverine rolled into one. He's just badass. Like I love the evasion, hidden items, the weapon select system with the ore buttons was fantastic.
Mm.
Combat mechanics were great. There's just a lot of cool stuff added into it, like, and that's why it was, it's what it is lauded as one of the best games of all time. Universal
Yeah.
acclaim, tons of awards.
Mm.
Like it's a game that lots have tried to replicate, but no one has even been able to do it as good
Mm.
as this game from '98. Haven't even been able to match that. Um, so yeah, it's if you haven't played it and you fancy, like, I would recommend see if you can get your hands on a
Mm.
copy. Don't spend 45 quid on it though. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to go into that. I think there's the third game is getting a complete remake, and it's out this year.
Yeah.
Snake Eater
Mm.
is going out this year. I That's the only one I think that I didn't finish. I hated
Oh, that'd be nice.
yeah, I hated I didn't enjoy the camouflage switching things. It just wasn't for me. But I'll definitely give it a go. I mean, it's the only one of the modern ones I haven't played. Obviously, I never played the NES ones, but I've played obviously two, four, and five. Anyway, look, that's it for the retro corner. So we'll finish that section up there. Um, yeah, just to finish up, I guess just thanks as always for listening. Please keep doing what you're doing with the sharing, telling other people about it, listening. Even if you don't want to listen, leave it on the background so we get
Yeah, yeah.
we get the listens that show up
Get
in
the
our little.
algorithms going.
But it's great. It's cool to keep getting feedback and getting questions from people. To keep those coming in as well. If you have any feedback or any questions, anything that we've spoken about today, maybe you don't agree with anything we said, maybe you agree with some of it, and think we're bang on the money, whatever. Yeah, send it on to us because we love reading all that stuff, the
Mm.
emails and the messages on social media. It's great. Have you anything to add before we finish up?
No, just, yeah, echoing exactly what you said. Keep all that stuff coming. Keep supporting, sharing. Throw us an email at middleagedgeeks@yahoo.com, and hopefully we'll get some more feedback next week. But thanks a million.
Definitely. Okay, well, look, cheers, guys. We'll leave it there, and we will catch you on the next one. Take it easy.
See you later.